A cohort analysis is a very powerful tool that allows you to truly understand your customer's behavior and see how it's developing and changing over time. I know that it might seem a little bit daunting and a bit intimidating at first when you take a look at a cohort report, but I promise as soon as you understand it and you learn how to utilize the data, it becomes an incredibly insightful resource for you to utilize. So let's start off with what exactly is a cohort. A cohort simply refers to a group of customers who all purchase for the very first time during the same exact time period. We can view this cohort by taking a look over here on the y-axis, where we can see the date of their first order, as well as the number of customers who placed their first order as well. The cohort can then be referred to within the report by looking at the respective row, where we can analyze their behavior and how it's changing and developing over time. We can also change the way that the cohort is broken up by going over here to the time dimensions dropdown. When we click into this, we have the option of changing our view from either month to week, quarter, half year, or year, where you can see when I click into one of these options how the cohort itself is going to change. When we go back to our previous view, we can also see at the top of the reports that we have on the x-axis the exact amount of time that has passed since they were initially acquired. Let's say that we were taking a look at November of 2024. We can see that we acquired 613 customers. After just 1 month, we can see that their lifetime value was $366. After 2 months, it went over to $424, and then so on and so forth here. You can see how these two parts of the tables are really working together to tell a story. And another part of the story that's really important to understand and to pay attention to are the cells itself. The color coding system is here to help you understand which cohorts are better performing over others. When we take a look at cells that have a green or even a yellow color, we can see those cells are performing above the average seen at the top of the columns. Whereas the cells that have an orange and red color are those that are performing below the average seen at the top. For example, some cohorts are going to have a very strong presence of green cells, which indicates a strong and healthy cohort. For example, October of 2024. And we can also see how it compares to the other cohorts surrounding it, where some of them may not be performing as strong in comparison to. When explaining the story of a cohort, it's important to know that we have filters for you to choose that allow you to customize the view a bit more. For example, we're taking a look at lifetime value by default, but if you wanted to change the metric in which you're analyzing and measuring, all you have to do is go over to our metrics dropdown and select a different one that you'd like to view. We have orders, gross revenue, net revenue, product return rates, items, and even retention rate. In addition to this, we also can see a couple of different options over here where we can change up the view of the cohort. For example, we're looking at this in a cumulative view, but we could change this to look at this from incremental, average to total. And if we were reviewing this within retention rate, we could also change this from percentages to absolute value. We can also change the date range of the cohort by going over here to the dropdown and selecting a different time frame for us to view. And of course, being able to select a different segment for you to go ahead and analyze further. In addition to being able to filter your reports and customize them, it's also important to know that there's 3 different ways that we can analyze the data within a cohort. We can analyze your data horizontally, vertically, and even diagonally. When we're taking a look at your data horizontally, we're paying attention to the cohort itself and how it is changing over the period of time. For example, let's say that we wanted to see what the LTV was at the 3, 6, and 9 month mark. We could take a look at September of 2024, and we can see after just 3 months that their lifetime value was $491. After 6 months, it was $618, and then after 9 months, it was $672. You can clearly see with this type of view how we could pick up trends such as flattening, declines, and even signs of growth, making it a really effective way to analyze your data within a cohort. The next way that we can analyze a cohort is by taking a look at it vertically. When we're viewing your cohort vertically, we're taking a look at how each cohort is performing relative to each other by viewing the cohort from top to bottom. For example, let's say that we were taking a look at retention rate, and we wanted to see how the retention rate was spread across all of our cohorts at the 3 month mark. We could then take a look at the 3 months and then see it from top to bottom how each cohort was performing in relative to each other here, giving us a really clear view on how they're stacking up against each other. The last way to view your cohort is by taking a look at it diagonally. In the diagonal view, we're taking a look at how every single cohort is behaving at that same point in time. Let's say I'm running a sale and I really want to understand if any previous cohorts are also engaging in that same sale. I can see how they're behaving by taking a look at this diagonally. We can see in August that we have an LTV of $341. For July, it goes over to 369, for June, 441, and then so on and so forth. You can clearly see how some cohorts are actually performing better over others. For example, like October of 2024 is doing pretty well with a lifetime value of $756. It gives you insights into how every single cohort is behaving at that same point in time in respect to the sale that I'm running. Now that we've been able to see what a cohort can do for your business, we can see that a cohort not only shows you what your customers are doing, but when they're doing it and how exactly they're achieving it as well. When we turn your customers' time-based behaviors into real actionable strategies, we can see how it can implement long-term growth for your business overall. So start looking at the cohorts today and see what you can find.